just sit away alone all by myself. I'm not just gonna stand here and wait. I wanna just decide what is to be my fate. Alone all by myself, I'm not just gonna stay here and wait.
Good afternoon, everybody. How the hell are you doing, Verbo?
Not too bad. It's a little cooler in Southern California than it has been the last, I don't know, months. I think it was 89 today instead of like 103, so happier.
So you're literally not melting like you were last week.
Yeah, I've gone to a nocturnal schedule and I'm sleeping through the hottest parts of the day because it's too much.
Well, there you go. And that ties into one of our stories today, where Jose Chille DeCastro was sleeping through the days for other reasons. Ooh. Folks, tonight's 500 subscriber celebration has been moved till tomorrow night. Both Rose and I aren't feeling great, and Pope Phil was out. Last time I heard, they were rotating his feet with his ears or something like that, or he was going out to celebrate his birthday with his wife or something. We still haven't seen the wife. We've heard the wife, but we've never seen the wife.
I've heard her voice. Yeah, egads. The poor man has a loving wife and a social life? Jesus Christ.
Supposedly, if she's real, because we don't know if she's real, because remember, that other guy with the initials CF, we still don't know if she's real, or from Timo, or whatever. But Pope's wife, we've got to find out. We have to get her on camera one of these days and prove, just like Bigfoot, she can be a source of entertainment and money for the channel. That's right.
Is she going to be one of our Spooky Sunday cryptids, or?
She might be. The wife of Pope Phil, the dreaded screamer of, where is he from? North Dakota or Idaho or?
I don't know.
Somewhere out there. So Pope is out there tonight getting dinner for his 98th birthday. 98 years old. What do you think about that?
So spry. For a 98-year-old, he sure knows how to use StreamYard very well.
Yes, Parsons, the Pope Phil wife grift. That's right. And his fake dog, according to Gia. So, folks, we've got
a little dog, too.
We've got 2 news articles, look at the GoFundMe market, and then a special ending tonight for you. Let's start with the GoFundMe in a second. And one of these has an obvious where I forgot to chop out a repeated line, so if you hear it, you too can withhold the knowledge of the universe. And since Verbo is the last Verbo on Earth, you're going to have to fight her Highlander style. There can be only one.
Only one.
And you may have to, take out swords and do stuff. I don't know. I don't know how it works anymore, especially now that they're rebooting it again. So we'll see how the new one works. I'm still saying
modern duel.
Do you have your swords?
I have a machete.
It works.
Is that acceptable enough? All right.
I guess. I don't know the rules anymore, but I'm still saying that the Highlander 2, the Renegade Director's Cut, is still the better of the 85 cuts of Highlander 2. And Sean Connery back.
Right. I don't know which one that is, but my dad did love Highlander a lot. You know, my dad may have gifted me that machete because I did find it in the street in front of my house, and I thought, well, that's the universe just can't machete. I'm going to pick that up and bring it inside. So it may have been foretold that this was a situation I would be in later in life.
Okay, folks, if you're secret Highlanders, you know where Verbo is. And there can be only one! So, engage at your own risk. I have nothing to do with it. The channel's not liable for anything like that. And Highlander was not silly, Gia. It's a good movie. The first one. Second one's okay if you watch the Renegade Director's Cut. Third one was crap. Fourth one was crap. Fifth one was crap. So, yeah. And then the TV series I still think was crap. Though I had a friend who, the friend couldn't afford anything. Yet he and his mother were obsessed with the Highlander TV show and buying all the VHS tapes when they came out when they were like $45 for 2 episodes. And they were buying all the swords to go with it. That was back in the 90s. Yes.
Was your friend and his mother autistic? Because that sounds like a special interest hobby.
No, Ron was weird, but he wasn't autistic as far as we could tell. Ron is, Mrs. Tom, go to Wikipedia and put in Highlander the movie. And that will tell you everything you need to know. It was the greatest 80s love story, head chopped off movie ever. And it had Clancy Brown in it. Clancy Brown from everything. Clancy Brown was in it, and so was Sean Connery. So, and the guy who was French but pretending to be Scottish, I guess. I don't know. It's Highlander, and it's great.
I don't know.
And I loved it. Just for Queen. There's an unreleased Queen song in there. They do the New York, New York. Freddie Mercury sings it a cappella. Yeah. So
that sounds good.
Yeah, great movie because Queen did the music for it. After Flash Gordon, they did Highlander. So there's a bunch of Queen music in it. So
yeah, even Parsons knows.
Yeah, I think it was 82 or 83. All I know is it starts with pro wrestling, and believe it or not, it wasn't all the guys were from the AWA, but they were in a WWF arena. Madison Square Garden was technically a Worldwide Wrestling Federation at the time this was made. And they made up, I believe they made up a federation just to put this show on, because all the guys were AWA guys who later went on to WWE. And there are members of the Rock's family and, what's his name? The Tribal Chiefs family in the opening of Highlander, because there was a wrestling match. They took on the Fabulous Freebirds.
Right. It was probably the most ideal filming spot for a movie production and had really little to do with the actual different leagues or organizations or whatever. It was probably that was the best place to rent.
It wasn't even old Madison Square Garden. It was in Jersey or something, but they presented it as Madison Square Garden. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, we are 11 minutes in without hitting our first story, so let's hit our first story. And good morning. There is Alan Eyes, our own Highlander, in seeking pants. I'm sure, wherever pants is.
Fun me, thank you for a bigger win. Monday brought another win to our ongoing expenses campaign, beating out everyone again by earning $10 from our devoted hate watcher who really wants this column to continue on a day marked by a bigger win in the background. Hijacking this column once again, since there's literally no action in the market, Even Jose Chille DeCastro's humble brag efforts to spawn some donations on his live stream on Monday resulted in no donations, other than a handful of super chats and gifted memberships in his live stream, but no actual donations to his crowdfunding efforts. So with that out of the way, we're going to dive into the bigger news for the person who is writing this column. Thanks to the efforts of promoting us up the wazoo by NCR News Network, we've reached the 500 subscriber mark, and this morning I was able to file for level 1 monetization. YouTube is currently reviewing our AdSense account, and then it says it can take up to a month to review our content before monetization will officially be turned on. After that, we'll need at least $100 a month in some sort of revenue to join the growing list of deadbeats independent journalists who get paid every 20-something-ish of the month in YouTube land. We're indebted to NCR and others for getting us over the final hump and into this stage. We thank all of you as well for your support since May, when we were kind of forced into the role as we left the other place to continue our Karen Reed coverage, which turned into the daily newscasts, which turned into the watch party and newscast, and so on and so on and so on. Despite our many mistakes and some growing pains, you've been here every step of the way to support us through views, feedback, gentle reminders when we've needed them, and of course, donations. We've made it clear in our crowdsourcing that we intend for YouTube to be our full-time job eventually, and we've been living off the money we get in donations in order to survive. That will continue until such a time that YouTube either takes off to the point where we don't need to crowdsource, or we end up getting another job until it does. The news, of course, never ends. Even on days like this when we're barely awake due to allergies and would rather be asleep, Rose gave us the cooties, we're still putting out content and getting things done. We may have to recruit Pants to do some voice work tonight, and the 500 subscriber celebration tonight may be a bit of a blur from the cough syrup, but hey, we don't drink, but it wouldn't be a proper party without someone embarrassing themselves, so bring it on, britches! And let's get this party started. On that note, if you'd like to join our hate viewers in exposing our secret plot to make Rose the happiest gal on the planet one day, life insurance puts a smile on every girl's face, we do have a GoFundMe of our own. All proceeds go to keeping the lights on, eating, and writing new stories to feature here and on reallycoolsite.org.
Okay then, one correction is, or one update, we are doing the 500 special tomorrow night, since Rose and I are both sick, and Pope Phil is out having his nose replaced with his eyeball, or something like that.
Right.
Or dating his wife, or I don't know. He tried to
Toes for
explain it, and it
thumbs.
sounded...
Something.
Yeah, toes for thumbs, or knees, or I don't know. He said something about getting brake fluid drained from his ear.
Right.
I don't
Well,
know.
you know,
So...
everybody needs a system flush.
So we will be tomorrow night celebrating things, and we'll be watching stupid videos. Tomorrow night's celebration takes the place of Drunk Girl Theater tomorrow afternoon, so we'll do that tomorrow night. Yeah. He might be getting his lips pierced. Yes, bring your snacks. So
Together? Like sewn up, or just the one bottom lip?
Well, maybe they're getting like a group thing where it's a chain from one to the other.
Oh,
so they're always
okay.
together.
So like a centipede kind of situation. What's that gross movie where they sew each other together?
Human Centipede.
Yeah. Just the piercing version. I'm not into it.
Yeah. No. Let's go back to Highlander. Highlander! Yay! Highlander, the better movie. Yay! Or we can go into somebody really gross and click the next story. What do you think?
Hit
it. Get it out of the way. Remember, folks, you're about to see a man in his underpants, and we did have someone rage quit the newscast earlier saying that we were an anti-Karen Reed channel. And I said, no, we're not. There's no evidence that we're anti-everyone.
The 9 charges dropped in other news.
I mean, this picture of Turtle Boy in his underpants is just a normal picture we have lying around. It's the only one we had of Turtle Boy. Right? Right. Well, the 50.
Whew.
But still.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're all equally as horrifying as they have come from the depths of your brain.
What? I didn't do it.
The pro-Karen Read protesters, known as the Canton 9, were informed on Monday that charges against them for felony witness intimidation would not be pursued by Canton police. In copies of physical mail shared with Aidan Turtleboy Kearney and then reposted on his Twitter,
Gia, we are not banning you. In fact, we are sending you a companion. The man in his underwear on the screen, Turtle Boy, needs to get out of Boston for a few weeks, so he's coming to visit you in Chicago. News at 11.
Members of the group shared their notices from Canton police that they would not be charged with the crime of witness intimidation, as it was found that there was no probable cause for those charges. According to published reports, no arrests were made when the protesters were confronted by police as they protested across the street from D&E Pizza, owned by Christopher Albert, brother of Brian Albert and father to Colin Albert, who the group has accused of being the real murderer of Boston police officer John O'Keefe. Members of the group received summons to appear in court for potential felony witness intimidation charges weeks after the incident. Turtleboy Kearney reacted to the news with the following tweet. Congrats to the Canton 9, who will not be charged with felony witness intimidation for peacefully protesting across the street from Chris Albert's mediocre pizza shop last November. They had their clerk's hearings in January, and although there was clearly no probable cause to charge them, they waited 7 months in order to keep them in limbo and scare them out of exercising their First Amendment rights by peacefully protesting again. Karen Read's trial for the murder of John O'Keefe recently resulted in a hung jury. Continuing with a report made by a tweet by Turtleboy Kearney, he is now claiming that Brian Albert and Michael Proctor have possibly been hired by former Boston Police Sergeant Marty Kraft's private investigation company. Kearney posted, according to multiple sources, Brian Albert is working for a private investigation company owned by disgraced former Boston Police Sergeant Marty Kraft, and Michael Proctor has possibly been hired too. He wouldn't confirm when I asked him today. Marty has very strong feelings about Karen Read that he expressed on Facebook. Reporter Grant Smith Ellis blamed the leak of the news about Brian Albert's new employment on Masshole Troll Mafia leader Kate Peter, tweeting, per sources, Kate Peter, a.k.a. Mafia Masshole, leaked the following information about Brian Albert to a former federal agent close to Peter's prior colleague, Aidan Turtleboy Kearney. This was done, apparently, to distract from scandals engulfing Peter over the weekend. In more Read gossip, reporter Ellis is now claiming that accused murderer Karen Read is now dating a real estate agent named Rich Rossi. Ellis tweeted, Rich Rossi, a real estate agent who is reported to be currently dating accused murderer Karen Read, abandoned his family of 3 years in July of 2024 in order to start a relationship with John O'Keefe's accused killer, according to sources indirectly familiar with ongoing developments. The connection started after someone named Renee Rose, who knew that Rich was married, got Rossi into court and asked Rossi to be Karen's free bodyguard. Read herself cheated on John in the weeks before his murder with a federal agent and in John's house, which in turn caused a breakdown in their relationship, leading to a drunken fight that at least 9 jurors found during Read's first trial culminated in Read hitting O'Keefe with her car while drunk driving and then leaving John to die in the snow. Karen Read was previously romantically attached to her defense attorney, Alan Jackson, after compromising photos of the pair in an intimate embrace were shared with TMZ.
There you have it. Yes, the 2 glitches were on my end as I recorded it. I do have to keep up our reputation of low quality standards, and apparently Chille DeCastro living in my brain 24/7. Yes, Chille DeCastro lives in my brain. Which, of course, I am sending again my brain directly to Gia in Chicago to take it for. I want to go to it wants to go to the Billy Goat Bar, and yeah, and see the curse and all that. So
The curse?
Gia, yes, there's a curse. Was it on? It was either on the White Sox or it was on the Cubs, and it was centered because they wouldn't let a man bring his goat into the stadium for a game, and they put the Billy Goat curse on him, or on the bar. The bar was cursed, and so were the whatever sports team it was. That's all I remember.
Seems very specific and odd. Okay. All right.
Yes, Mrs. Tom
Like
says it was the
worldy.
Cubs. Yes.
Okay.
It was the Cubs. I don't know. I've got not one but two on my Kindle app. I've got two books about baseball and ghosts, which are hilarious because all the stories the guys either encounter or, it's firsthand accounts because of all the traveling they do in the minor leagues to these crappy hotels. And weird stuff just begins to happen.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, or the one guy, he signed with the Hiroshima, one of the Hiroshima teams over in Japan. And they have a stadium literally built like either on Ground Zero or next to Ground Zero. And there's a little hotel where the ball players stay at. And as an American, the ghost didn't like him very much. He said he woke up one night and there was a little old lady at a table next to the bed, in the gap between the bed and the wall. And she was drinking tea and offered him some tea, but he was like freaked out and said no, and went back to bed. And the next morning he looked at the gap, and the gap between the wall and the bed was maybe 6 inches. So he was either having a great dream or that ghost could warp reality. And then he left, he quit the next night because he woke up and he said it was a samurai coming at him with a katana trying to get him. So, yeah, he checked out and quit the league and went back to America pretty quickly. So,
whew.
Yeah.
That sounds very uncomfortable.
Yeah, there's all sorts of stories like that. In the minor leagues, and even minor league wrestlers, when they travel, there's a bunch of famous stories. They appeared on, I forget what was the podcast name, but Kenny Omega, supposedly, if anyone knows AEW wrestling, Kenny Omega was literally cursed by a ghost for like 2 years. And he had to go, I guess the story ended with him going back to the place and making amends before the curse was lifted. So, yeah. Just lots of stories like that. Which segues into...
Might be a good resource for Spooky Sunday.
It might be. But we segue into the cursed life of... If it adds to
repeal most vehicle safety laws. Jose Chille DeCastro returned to live streaming Monday night with a 90-minute live stream, congratulating himself for beating up...
And yes, that is a picture for your friend, the guy who doesn't like the photos, the sexy photos of Chille DeCastro we put up. Because look, you can see his butt and the back of his head. What do you think, Verbo?
Is he going to add?
obstruction charges in Las Vegas and announcing that he'll abolish most vehicle safety laws when he is elected governor. DeCastro has traveled through Arizona, California, and Nevada in the past few days and has been concentrating on family and friends as he deals with fixing his broken teeth and the PTSD he claims he has from his time in jail.
Okay, I know I screwed up on that one. We repeated the line. Yeah, I'm not going to fix it.
YouTuber explained that the entire time he was in jail, he would tailor his sleeping patterns to reflect which guards were on duty, and if an evil guard was on a shift, he'd force himself to sleep through.
Are you back?
Yeah, sorry. StreamYard just totally just decided it wanted to glitch out and die and kick me out.
Well, I was pointing out the voluptuous picture of Chille DeCastro, and I called
Yes,
on you, and you suddenly disappeared. So I was like, did she
I'm
quit?
sorry.
Did she rage
No.
quit?
StreamYard's been giving me a little bit of problem all broadcast, actually. It keeps glitching on me, so I don't know what's going on. It recently got sold, and some of the customer service and like back-end coding and stuff is breaking a little bit. People are dissatisfied, so I think it's
Well,
a StreamYard.
if you look closely, his shorts are a back the blue flag, and I did it intentionally.
I did not notice that. I did not notice that.
Yes. Just for Gia.
The shift and then be up all night if a good guard was working the next shift. He said he suffered intentional trauma and distress while in jail, as he knew that he had a second trial coming for the recently dropped obstruction charge, and he faced a year or 2 years in jail since it would have been his second conviction. The YouTuber dramatically blamed Justice of the Peace Ann Zimmerman for inflicting emotional damage on him by wrongfully sentencing him to trumped-up charges. Turning his attention to Zimmerman, he said he'd soon launch his lawsuit and media campaign against her to make her pay for improperly forcing him into jail. DeCastro dramatically paused after describing his PTSD and went into a full-throated rage about police and policing in America. He promised that when he was elected to be the executive of an unnamed state in the future, he would eliminate seatbelt laws, laws regulating turn signals and lights on cars, and proof of registration. He then turned his attention to police officers.
Pausing that because we've seen him get tickets for lights. I don't know if we've seen him have an expired registration yet, but
No, it seems like someone else usually owns the vehicle or it's a rental, so that's not paperwork that's under his umbrella of responsibility, so it gets done.
Well, at least he didn't repeat his previous claims that he was going to outlaw DUI checks and laws with the DUIs. He basically said that for the seatbelt laws, wearing a seatbelt is something between you and your insurance company. The law plays no part in it.
Well, I would counter that that's between you and the paramedics and the ER doctor that are going to try to put you back together because you went through the windshield and a steering wheel impaled your chest, which is catastrophic typically. And someone like myself, we'll see you soon.
Yeah, seeing that you used where you used to work, ouch. Ouch.
Yeah, it's hard to embalm a body that has a catastrophic injury like that because the embalming process uses the cardiovascular system to push the fluids and infuse them into
Through
the
it, yeah.
tissues. So when your cardiovascular system is majorly compromised, the embalming process is very difficult and not always successful. It takes thousands of individual injections of the embalming fluid into different parts of the body in order to achieve that, and it's not always great effusion. So, I mean, you want to be disfigured for life or disfigured in the casket, you can go ahead and not wear your seatbelt.
Yeah. Sometimes he wears it down under his armpit. So it's on, where he can slide it on if there's a cop around, but otherwise it's just around his waist.
I mean, that's not great. It's better than nothing, but
Right.
I don't know. I know seatbelts can be uncomfortable, especially if you have breasts, because the way the cross belt hits and stuff, for me, it cuts directly into my neck. So I actually have mine permanently affixed in the exact position I want it, so it doesn't land on my neck, but I still get, the all the protection that goes along with it. But he's an idiot. He does idiot stuff.
Well,
Let him
also,
let him
there
live
was
stream and run into a wall.
there was a live stream where he actually showed how tiny he is in a car. And I think he was driving a Jeep at the time, where
Hmm.
his shoulders don't even reach the top of the seat. Now, if I were in that car, my shoulders would have been on the level of the seat and my head would have been against the headrest. And I'm only like
Hmm.
5'8.5". I'm not a huge guy. But Chille,
Yeah.
his head barely touched the headrest. It looked like he was in it like a humorously oversized vehicle. Because he was
Right.
just so little. And he never used that angle ever again.
Right. Yeah, I'm 5'9", so I'm just like a weensy bit taller than you. I'm kind of in that average dude height,
Right,
so most things are designed to fit me. It's nice. Counters are the right
right.
height. Cars are all perfect for me. It's quite nice.
Well,
He might look into getting a booster seat so he can see over the
yeah,
dashboard.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially when he's got both hands holding cameras and he's driving with his knees. That's,
Right.
I
I
don't know.
love that for him. What a
There's
great
a
idea.
gag. There's a gag. No spoilers. It was on the commercials and Deadpool and Wolverine or whatever the hell the movie is, where the Deadpool is searching through time and space for a version of Wolverine to team with, and he comes across a comics accurate version of Wolverine. Wolverine in the
Mhm.
comics is 5'2" tall, so he's
Oh,
not Hugh
those fit
Jackman,
black.
who's 6'2". Yeah, so he's a little guy, and he got off his stool, and it was like, oh, you're way down there. Okay, so I'm picturing encountering Chille, and Chille's the same height as that Wolverine, 5'3" or 5'2". So
Is it like
yeah.
Wolverine, like a ball of fury? It's like a little ball of
Well,
fury.
they've tried to present him as a little bit bigger in the comics because he was the coolest character through his inception till now, except for the fact that he's tiny and no one actually figures out that he's that short. So yeah, it's just one of those comic book things. But
I
I guess
I'll
Chille could play Wolverine.
I guess
Comics
I'll give it to
accurate.
Chili that he's upped his game on force perspective, and he can make himself look relatively average size in most circumstances. I'll give him that. He's
Right.
paying attention to how he looks, how he comes across, and different angles and techniques and stuff like that. Gain some
And
skills.
it's and he is dwarfed when he's around someone like Floyd Wallace, though.
Isn't Wallace is like a lanky green bean though.
Yeah, Wallace is about 6 foot.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to this.
Yeah,
We're halfway through it.
Sirs, briefly showing the start to a news story where a police pledged more training after losing a lawsuit. DeCastro shouted that more training wasn't enough, police officers need to be fired, and have criminal charges made against them if they act improperly on the job. The YouTuber smiled as he said that now that the second obstruction charges were dropped, it would be easier to strip qualified immunity from the police officers who arrested him in the case and sue them for their immoral actions. DeCastro did not address the growing backlash against him for dropping the claims of being a constitutional law scholar and instead crowdfunding for lawyers to take on his multitude of criminal and civil lawsuits. The YouTuber has made his entire brand around pitching the idea of defendants going pro se without needing lawyers and relying on his teachings to get them through lawsuits. At one point, he said he was selling his own legal documents that could apparently be substituted for the work of a lawyer. These sales allegedly made up a good portion of his income. Now that he has embraced using his fans' money to pay for his expensive lawyer instead of showing his skills as a constitutional law scholar, there's been an observed growing backlash against him for selling his products aimed at self-representation. DeCastro did address the services of attorney Joshua Tomczak, the lawyer who was able to get the obstruction charges dismissed, addressing calls to refund the money of donors since he crowdsourced and no longer needed that money. He said that while he may have had money left on Tomczak's retainer, there was no way to get money back from a lawyer. Announcing a change in his free trifold program, he stated that when he sends out a free physical copy of his trifold, they are no longer professionally printed physical copies of the product. Instead, he substitutes a photocopy of the trifold in black and white, which contains the same information, just in destructible form. He ended up repeating his announcements that the Team DLZ website would soon be launched, and while not defining the purpose of the website, he did mention that he would be uploading exclusive videos to the site for his fans to track his travels across America.
So we can track him like a great white shark.
White shark. Right. So
Yes.
he's going to put a tracker on himself now, but when his fans were tracking him before, because he was live streaming with street signs in open cities,
Yes.
that was stalking. All right, great,
Yes,
dude. Great, love it.
But now you can keep track of him because he's putting up those. He's going to put up those videos, and you can see him for all his glory.
Right. All right, cool.
Now, I do have to give some spoiler warnings. He did go live earlier. And he has a new thing he's doing when he's calling police officers. It
Really?
debuted today.
Okay.
He puts on the worst Southern accent in the world and pretends to be a hillbilly of sorts
No.
while talking to the police.
Was he matching accents?
Nah, but I got the Andy Griffith. I don't know. I just done did it that way. I don't know.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Was he trying to be relatable?
No, he was trying to be obnoxious, but he was coming off. He was just maybe he was trying to be relatable, so they'd tell him more or something. But it was just bad. He did it like 3 or 4 times during the live stream. I've just skimmed through it so far, but it was 90 minutes of your life that you will never get back. It's just bad.
No, thank you. That's what you're for, Jim. We all want you to watch Chille DeCastro, so nobody has to.
We will be reporting on that tomorrow. In fact, tomorrow's broadcast. Remember tonight, before we go in the last segment, remember tonight, we are not doing the 500 celebration since Phil is having his eyes replaced with his brain, and me and Rose were both sick, so we'll be back up to full speed tomorrow. And if anyone has seen Mrs. Popeville II, please let us know. There are rumors of an OnlyFans, but it's a digital OnlyFans. So it was AI.
I would say, isn't all OnlyFans digitally delivered?
Well, but it's AI OnlyFans.
That's
so
upsetting.
They're all renders of people with...
I hate that.
With 7 fingers on one hand and 3 on the other, and 7 or 8 legs. I don't know. But if I am not kink shaming anyone. I am not kink shaming anyone. I did see a video of AI trying to simulate. Go ahead.
Oh God! What, people that like 7 legs? Like, who could you be shaming?
Well, AI, okay, so the video I saw was an AI trying to simulate a woman dancing, and like her legs, instead of moving naturally, just suddenly started inverting themselves on some of the dance moves. Or like her head was on backwards, or,
Oh God, I hate it. I hate it so much.
Yeah, it was pretty
Get,
bad. It was
get that
pretty
uncanny
bad.
valley right out of here. Just get it out of here.
Yeah. Yeah, at least when I do it, my people have the right amount of fingers and toes. So,
We'll all keep an eye out for that to make sure that the Skynet has not taken Jim over.
that's right. So we do have one segment left. It's kind of serious, and then we're out of here for tonight. So we're just going to play it, and if anyone has any questions afterwards, we can address them.
Retraction and Apology. On the Monday night edition of the Watch Party, I made statements regarding my random thoughts about the lottery structure of the giveaways that had previously been held on the Welsh News Network's programming. I specifically stated that the same charges from fans that Mr. Beast and Aidan Turtleboy Kearney held illegal lotteries could be applied to the giveaways that were held on WNN. In that case, I was specifically referring to the fact that fans had to buy into all three of the giveaways to earn the prizes. At no time was I insinuating that the WNN giveaway shared the further charges that they were rigged to go to friends and family members as part of those charges against the giveaways. Becca, formerly of WNN, reminded me that from time to time there were free entries given for monthly entries into the giveaways. Those in attendance to WNN live streams would get the ability to earn a free entry by taking part in chats or through other methods as deemed by Daniel Jones. And to clarify, friends and family of WNN were disqualified from having entries in the giveaways. A randomizer was used on air when Becca did the drawings herself with little to no involvement from Daniel Jones. And those drawings and the build-up to adding the final names into the eligible lists were done completely on air in front of viewers. Becca's hard work to make those giveaways as transparent as possible should not be discounted, nor should accusations be made against her. She worked as best she could to make those drawings as fair as possible, and those who won computers and electronic devices received those devices because of Becca's efforts. She also continued to provide support to prize winners after the drawings were made to make sure the devices were working. On at least one occasion, she worked with the prize winner to return and replace a computer that was defective when it arrived from Amazon.com. There are still a lot of questions that remain unanswered about Daniel Jones and the money raised by the giveaways. Those questions will need to be answered by Daniel Jones. However, the way Becca ran the actual drawing and prize distribution were as transparent as possible. The drawings are still available over on WNN's channel, and you can witness for yourself her hard work and efforts to keep the drawings fair and transparent. I apologize if my offhand comments were taken out of context, and I publicly apologize to Becca if those comments inadvertently discounted her efforts to make sure her part of the giveaways was always above board. I did correct my comments on the air, but in the jumble of the 500 subscriber announcement, I really shouldn't have opened my mouth without preparing comments. I'll learn from this as we move forward, and thank you for this opportunity to clear the air on a very strange night at the watch party last night.
Okay, folks, Becca didn't ask for the apology. I decided to do it myself since there was some question at the end of our broadcast last night. Becca and I are fine. We briefly talked through DMs. But of all the crappy things that happened on WNN, Becca was not a part of Dan's Danness. And she always did her best on that show. And she always went above board, especially with drawings, to make sure that they were truly random and that people who deserved to be in those drawings actually had a fair shake every time. So that's all I really have to say about that. Again, she didn't ask for the apology, but we made sure that the air was cleared and that her roles were defined.
Okay.
Okay? And on that note, again, the 500 subscriber party will be tomorrow night. And we're out of here in a second. Any last words, Verbo?
Bring your cupcakes.
Yes, bring your sweets tomorrow night. We will be comparing our sweets. So hopefully everyone will be well tomorrow night. I know Rose lost her voice so bad this morning that her 5-year-old was like, "Mommy, you don't sound the same." And she was like, "I can't talk. Mommy, you sound weird." Well, yeah, because she lost her voice. And
Yeah. I think it's important that everybody gets to attend because it was an everybody effort. So,
yes.
delaying for just a little bit is no big deal.
Yes. Yeah, we can always party. We'll find a reason. And I've got tons of drunk people that we can make fun of tomorrow night. So, on that note, prepare yourself for at least an hour tomorrow night of some funny drunk people. It will replace Drunk Gurl in the afternoon. We're not doing Drunk Gurl tomorrow afternoon. We'll do those videos at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock where it counts, 6 o'clock Mountain, and 5 o'clock Pacific tomorrow night. And on that note, again, take care all. We'll see you tomorrow.
It's almost cupcake time.